From zero to $95 billion. This journey of founders has challenged the payment system across the globe. Hi, we are Shunyatax Global, and today we are going to discuss about the wealth generation businesses that will generate rapid wealth, not slow wealth. And today in the series we are going to discuss the payment system Stripe, the journey of a hero from zero to $95 billion. So what if you are familiar with payments and payments gateway, you have heard of Stripe some way or the other. If not, and even if you are familiar, let me explain you Stripe like I would do it to a 5-year-old person. Like I would explain it to a 5-year-old kid. Like I would explain it on a date to a dumb girl. Like I would explain it to a girl who has no idea about it. So see, imagine you are selling something online, cookies, courses, or any of the product that you want to sell globally and locally. The first question that comes to your mind is, पैसा कैसे लूँ? How do I collect the payments from each of my customer who are interested in buying anywhere in the world? Before Stripe, process था एक rocket science. It was not easy to understand process and the implementation took months to integrate with the platform जहाँ पर पैसा लेना है. And what Stripe did is, with 7 line of codes, उन्होंने वो payment system ready कर दिया. That's it. No banking partnerships, no regulatory hustles. Merchants को आना है, they have to copy paste the code and then just start their business taking payments. So to explain it to a 5-year-old, this is the UPI for payments across the globe to anyone, to any business. But then these are already there. UPIs, payments, ये सब तो already है ही. तो Stripe की ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ी? Why was Stripe even established? What problem was Stripe solving? बिजनेस को पेमेंट लेना होता है, they have to take up a merchant account. Merchant account लेने में 2 से 6 महीने लगते हैं. Plus all of the payment gateways ask for deposits, 5 to 10 lakhs, 2 lakhs, any deposit. They जो डिपॉजिट उनके हाथ लगता है वो मांग लेते हैं. Second is different payment gateways for different countries. Third is developers को payment processing और gateways को integrate करने के लिए अच्छी खासी कोडिंग का टाइम लगता था. सब कुछ मिला करके from solving the bugs and everything else, easy 6 months. जिस भी वेबसाइट और प्लेटफॉर्म पर पेमेंट लेने हैं. और इस फेल्ड ट्रांजैक्शन का पता ही नहीं चलता था क्यों हुआ है, कैसे हुआ है और कहाँ गया है वो. बहुत ही बुरी रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट होती थी ऑफ द फेल्ड ट्रांजैक्शंस. And then international payments, forget it. Every country is a nightmare in international payments if they are going without their banking channels. So the solution for Stripe was very easy. Internet पे जितना भी business हो रहा है, the whole business of the internet needs to be boosted by the payment solution that they have, and the payment should be as easy as sending a WhatsApp message. But then who built this Stripe empire? कैसे उन्होंने चालू करा, कैसे वो शुरू का पैसा लेकर के आए, उन्होंने क्या कोड डेवलप करा, हाउ डिड दे एक्चुअली बिल्ट दिस $95 billion empire from scratch. So the story starts from 2 Irish brothers in 2010. First is Patrick Collison and second is John Collison. They were teenagers at that time. One was 19 and the other one was 17. Both were MIT dropouts, which is a classic pattern for a successful startup. But why these dropouts always have a classic pattern for a successful startup? Because they get easy access to the ventures and the capitalists who are going to invest in them the seed capital. और इनका seed capital था Y Combinator. Y Combinator invested $2 million on day 0, जब सिर्फ और सिर्फ इनके पास में 4 लोगों की टीम थी और ऑन पेपर आइडिया था. $2 million. What's interesting is John Collison was the youngest self-made billionaire. He was a billionaire at the age of 26. The same age जब उसकी एज के लोग Instagram, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, whatever swipe कर रहे होते हैं. The Collison brothers got the $2 million along with their another 2 team members. What did they do? The magic formula that they used was very simple. They were solving the developers problem, not anyone else's problem. क्योंकि developers को time लगता था कोड को इंटीग्रेट करने में, दे मेड अ सिंपल 7-line कोड, द सेम कोड जिस पर पेपैल एंड स्क्वायर ने पेटेंट का केस करा हुआ है, दैट दे एक्चुअली ओन द पेटेंट एंड स्ट्राइप इज जस्ट कॉपिंग देम. Regardless, they have made $95 billion. So the first was making the simplest code of a 7-line, only to solve the developers issue. Second is the infrastructure play that they did. Most of the payment gateways are just payment gateways. PayPal, Square, Payoneer. What Stripe did is, Stripe is the AWS of payment gateways, the Amazon web server of the payment gateways. It handles everything from the fraud detections to the international compliances में $100 million annually Stripe खर्च कर रहा है. This is how best they manage it. Because they knew that merchant ने अगर एक बार payment ले लिया and when the merchant become big, they will dump them because of the regulatory issues that they face. That is why Stripe came out to solve it for them, for their customers. Third is product-led growth. They had no sales team. Their only marketing was मैंने यूज़ लिया, I did it, I suggested to someone else, and then simple word of mouth, which was the most effective because they made a product which was already selling itself. Now हर business के pillars हैं उसके employees, उसकी team. For Stripe, 3 people changed the whole equation. They have 8,000 plus employees globally, but bringing on these 3 people on board, it was a game changer because these brothers had a philosophy: hire people who are excited about enabling others to make great businesses. And that is why they hired the first person, Billy Alvarado, who was helping them with the regulatory strategy, the main issue every merchant had to face after they took payments with the Stripe. Otherwise, they would have lost the first customer itself. Then comes Willie Gabrick, the CFO. He was the main person who structured all the complex financial partnerships. And as of today, Shunyatax Global is also connected with him. We also suggest him at some point of time what and how to structure XYZ. Then comes Christina Cordova, the Chief Business Officer. She was responsible for building enterprise relationships. A business is nothing without partnerships and without tie-ups through its channels. But now all of these big people were coming in, 8,000 people were employed. A lot of people were using it, regulatory issues. How did they fund this giant beast? How did they fund this startup? उनके पास तो शुरू में $2 million ही थे from the Y Combinator. So they raised $2.2 billion among various rounds and their highest valuation was $95 billion in March 2021, which they have maintained till date, which is currently $92 billion. और funding के अलावा उनका revenue model क्या था? Very simple, commission based, which was 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction, and then they used to give volume discounts for their big players. Along with this, they had other revenue streams, their products like Connect, Atlas. To give you an idea of their quantum of operation, they are currently processing $817 billion annually. इतना amount conventional banks भी process नहीं कर पाते हैं उनकी पूरी lifetime में, which they did in a short span of time. Their 2023 revenue is $14.4 billion from the commissions that we just discussed of approx 3% plus 30 cents. They are currently serving 4 million businesses and have presence across 46 countries. But with all this money comes the predators who are going to feed on your fund, the lawsuits, the regulatory compliances that they could not follow, and then the judiciary. But with all this money comes the judicial proceedings against them because they had money, and people go after the people who have money to gain whatever they can from the lawsuits. So what are the judicial proceedings that are currently against Stripe? The first one is EU is investigating them for antitrust concerns, that are they creating a monopoly. Second is the chargeback and the frauds that is prevalent in every payment industry online worldwide, regardless of the banking channel they choose. Conventional banking, modern banking, सब में chargeback और frauds होते हैं, and Stripe is also one of the victim of these. Third is the regulatory compliances cost across the globe. हर जगह का अगर spend approx $100 million annually to do what? To save their regulatory compliances, to manage their regulatory compliances. And then they are facing a lawsuit from PayPal and Square that they have taken their patents. What's interesting is these both companies constantly keep suing Stripe one after the other for some or the other patent infringement. But then how did they played this jurisdictional and regulation chess game? The first is that they started in US. US is always kind to the startups that they start there. Plus वहाँ पर इतने compliances उनको follow करने होते हैं. Most of the compliances globally are followed if you have followed US compliances. So to handle the regulations, they did four things. First is money transmitter license. They got licenses in all the 50 states of USA, which actually costed them millions initially. Second is PCI DSS compliances. They handle the securities so that the merchants don't have to handle it themselves. Third is international expansion. How did they internationally expand? They acquired the local merchant company of that particular region or that particular country to move fast. Fourth is banking partnerships. They knew that the sharks, the blue whales of the sea won't let them survive. Hence, they made them the partners. They partnered up with Chase, Wells Fargo, and many other banks. So when traditional bankings were stuck in the legacy system, they built an infrastructure which was regulatory compliant on day one. After Stripe has cracked its payments game, they are moving on to new products which every business should do. The first is Stripe Atlas, Stripe Connect. The first is Stripe Atlas helps start anyone a US company in 1 week. The second is Stripe Capital, which is a carbon removal marketplace, very trendy. The second is Stripe Capital, lending to businesses. The third is Stripe Climate, which is a carbon removal marketplace, super trendy. Fourth is embedded finance. They will provide banking services to the small platforms that are in the same industry. From what speed they are growing, if they survive this, all the regulators and everything compliant, they will soon be the Federal Reserve of the internet money, controlling most of the money flow globally. So if you are someone who wants to build rapid wealth, which goes on for generations so that your grandsons and great grandsons don't have to say that what if my grandfather bought this highway wali zameen. So how should you do it if you want to start something in the tech and gateway industry? First is developer experienced obsession. No matter what, if you make things easier for developers, you will crack it. For that, you will have to hire good developers. They won't come on day one. That is why you have to dissolve your equity. Second is regulatory first approach. No matter what, they were regulatory compliant. They made sure that all the regulations were fulfilled, even if they were extracting the profits out of the business. They embraced the regulations, not fight them. Third is global from day one. If your business cannot run globally without you being present, then it is just a shop. So you might just a shop, then it is just a lala ki dukaan, a shop. Fourth is they were not just processing payments. They were payment infrastructure. They provide end-to-end solution for someone who wants to sell their products online and want to start from day zero. There are some modern opportunities that might have chance in this particular industry after all these giants have come into place. First is a reliable, trustable crypto payments infrastructure. Not just payments, a proper infrastructure. Second is the B2B payment solution for emerging markets. Everyone is trying to go B2C, which involves a lot of marketing cost. But B2B is still untapped because they don't want to go to the traditional banking channels again. There are a lot of people that wants to try the modern infrastructure for the B2B payments. Third is solve a industry specific issue. Let's say there is some medicine that is not allowed in Europe, but most of the Indians or people from Asia are selling it to Europe. If you target one specific industry, let's say healthcare, how will you collect that medicine's payment in Europe and give it to your Asian merchant? So solve a specific industry issue, a lot will be solved then. Fourth is embedding the finance into software as a service, into vertical SaaS, as it requires lot of time and money from the founders on day one. So it should be a model which comes inside of that vertical SaaS and could be easily plugged and play. But for this, you will need a good team, initial seed capital. We can help you in that. Compliances across the globe. We can sort that for you as well. For equity. Time approx 3 years, at least max to max 5 years, if you're on the right track. And then the vision to make it global. To put it in a simpler way, find the most complex thing in any industry which the whole industry is suffering from, make it 10 times simpler, and that is your $1 billion idea right there. Like, comment, subscribe, anything you want to ask, any pitches you want to show us, most welcome. Along with this, we will discuss on the next generational wealth rapid idea soon. See you.